Hello, and welcome to another episode of Untraditionally Traditional, a podcast with me, Brittany Duncan, a Millennial Homemaker. Join me each week as I share all the things I've learned that make keeping your home, garden, and life running smoothly, all while working. If you are enjoying the podcast, please be sure to subscribe in your favorite podcasting app so you get the episodes downloaded straight to you every Monday. Now, on to today's episode. Hello, and welcome back to Untraditionally Traditional, a Millennial Homemaker. I hope that each of you had a wonderful time with friends or family or yourself for the holiday, just relaxing, making turkey, not making turkey, whatever you chose to do. I hope that you had a great Thanksgiving. Johnson and I had the opportunity to host my parents and Granny for the holiday, and it was fabulous. It was a really special time to me because at one point or another, both my granny and my aunt and uncle, who I refer to as my parents, raised me. I'm still close with my biological parents, and I refer to them as my parents too, which I know can be confusing for you listeners out there. But my aunt and uncle, that set of parents, and my granny at one point or another cared for me, made meals, washed dishes, provided a warm and cozy bed and plush towels and all those things that make you feel at home. So to be able to return the favor, even just for a couple of days, and care for them really meant the world to me. And I have to say that it went really well. I wasn't stressed. I was prepared. I rolled with the punches as plans changed, as they do. And thanks to preparation, I was able to be quick on my feet and adjust. And a big part of that preparation is the 4X rule, which I will break down today. Essentially, whatever I do in the kitchen, I try to do in a manner that requires minimal work for the next 3 times I perform that task. So here are some examples of that. Pie crust, and this was very applicable during Thanksgiving. Pie crust is super simple to make if you have a food processor. It's flour, cold butter, salt, cold water. You pulse until a ball forms and then chill for an hour plus before using. It isn't hard, but it still takes time to measure out those ingredients and then wash all the bits and bobs of the food processor. So when I make pie crust, I quadruple the recipe and freeze 3 portions for future uses. All I have to do is thaw and use it as I normally would. I'd use the same concept of making one batch for four meals that are going to carry me through the next 3 times I want that particular product. Other examples are sourdough bread. I always make at least 4 loaves. Pasta dough. Sorry, my Canadian just came out there. I always make extra and freeze the dough. So for future meals, all I have to do is thaw the dough, roll it out and cut it, and voila, you've got fresh homemade pasta. Soup. I always make soup recipes that allow me to store 2 to 3 quarts left over in the freezer. And I use half-quart containers whenever I freeze soup or even a lot of my meals. You'll see these, you'll get them from like takeout restaurants, and you can also buy them. But they really help to keep everything organized, labeled, and they're stackable. They're the same size. They're super easy to wash. And best of all, they're really inexpensive. You can also get quarter quart, half quart, or full quart. So I do have all 3 sizes at our house here, but half quart is definitely the one I use the most often and that I think is the best. I'll put a link in the show notes for the ones that I order off of Amazon. And I use the same concept and same containers for things like pasta sauces, ground beef dishes, and even recipes like mac and cheese and lasagna. But for those, I like to use disposable 1-pound baking pans with lids that you can also find in Amazon. I've got that in the show notes too. But these make it super easy to make a big batch of whatever you're going to create and have many meals for future. So whenever I'm making lasagna, I will layer it in these 1-pound containers, and it's usually, I would say, about 6 of those containers would be equivalent to your big, standard baking pan that you would normally make a big thing of lasagna for. But since it's just Johnson and I, like, these containers are the perfect size. And they're also a great size if you want to drop off a meal to a neighbor or a friend who's feeling under the weather. All you have to do is place a sticky note on top and the baking temp and time to cook it for, and voila, super easy, allows you to be prepared and have food on hand. Now, I know these things that I just talked about rely on freezer space, and if you're struggling with your freezer, I encourage you to check out my episode that I put out on May 1st, 2023, titled Your Freezer is Your Friend. And on that episode, I walk through how to maximize the use of your freezer and keep it organized so that you can do things like implement the 4X rule. It applies to the fridge too, though. If you find that you're making an omelet every day, prepare a quart of the mix-ins that you would put into your omelet, the ham, the mushrooms, spinach, whatever that is. And then all you have to do in the morning is beat a few eggs, pour in some of those mix-ins, and you're good to go. If you have a parfait every morning, make 6 at a time, and then all you have to do is top it with granola. The idea of the 4X rule is to work smarter, not harder. If you're sacrificing the end product, that's not the idea here. With the 4X rule, the idea is that you're not sacrificing the end product or any of the quality. You are simply putting time back into your pocket, which is huge. Whether you're single, married, have kids, or roommates, having spare time is something all of us struggle to find and, quite frankly, probably need more of. So take the 4X rule to your kitchen first. I think that's the easiest place to implement it, but then look beyond the kitchen. Are you replacing your air filter monthly? Buy 4 months at a time. Are you constantly having to refill the dog food container in your kitchen because it's too small? Get a bigger dog food container so you're not having to run to the garage so many times to fill it up. Keep bigger containers of food items that you use often, like flour or rice, in the kitchen so that you don't have to refill them as often. Remember, the idea here is to cut down on the work you have to do on that task for the next 3 times you do it. The possibilities are really endless, and once you start looking at your tasks through this lens, it becomes easier and honestly a little addicting. I love efficiency, and the 4X rule helps me to be more efficient while maintaining the level of quality I strive for in our home. Next week, we're going to be talking about holiday gift giving. Hang in there for one more week, and I'll be sharing some tips on how to curb some of that holiday stress associated with gift buying, and have some tips there for how to, keep your budget, some gift ideas, some apps that I use that help to keep everything organized, some wrapping tips, all that fun stuff. So can't believe that we are so close to the Christmas holiday, but it is coming up. So that'll be next Monday. In the meantime, you can follow me over on Instagram and Facebook at Untraditionally Traditional Pod. That's Pod. And if you have any episode recommendations that you would like to hear, please feel free to message me. Right now, I'm starting to plan out the 2024 content and what that's going to look like. So it's really a great time if you have any suggestions on things that you want to hear about, or maybe that I've covered but you'd like me to dive deeper on. I would love to hear that. All right. Thanks, everybody, and have a great week. Thank you for listening to this episode of Untraditionally Traditional. If you enjoyed the podcast, please share it with those special people who would love it too, and write a review. For more tips and photos of my home and garden, follow Untraditionally Traditional Pod on Instagram. Until next week, let's continue to make our homes places of joy and service to ourselves and those we share them with.